Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about Jason Blaha, specifically, if Jason Blaha is getting stronger or weaker. The guy has been on YouTube now, posing as a fitness expert for over 5 years, so it's very relevant to be able to recognize if he, as an expert, is getting bigger and stronger. What are his gains, and are they significant? Jason Blaha routinely takes people to task for getting injured, for not making gains, and for not looking aesthetic. To be honest, the guy thinks he knows everything, and he is trying to advise people on the internet on how to properly gain strength and size. But he's talking nonsense. How do I know? Because Jason Blaha has a library of YouTube videos that are verifiable proof that his own methods don't work. If they did work, he would be getting bigger and stronger, and his numbers would be consistently improving. The guy has admitted that he has been a regular steroid user for around 20 years, so he can't use the lack of gear as an excuse. He continuously has injury problems, which is odd, because he continuously mocks others for having injuries. Weightlifting and bodybuilding puts a lot of stress on the body, and it's going to cause injuries, even if you use the right program in the perfect form. Life happens. People may be tight from sleeping in an awkward position for too long, or someone might just be having a weak day. Someone may have fatigued their muscles doing yard work, or working in their garage, and it can lead to an injury in the gym. But to Blaha, any normal life factors that arise to anyone but himself are proof that he and his program are the standard on how to lift weights. So let's take a look at Blaha's progress over the last few years. I went through and pulled out a few random videos out of Blaha's library. Blaha doesn't properly tag his lifting videos, and he has had many large gaps in time where he didn't upload training footage. And I don't have the time nor desire to go through his entire YouTube library. I'm already pissed off enough at myself for putting forth the few hours of effort that I've put into this video. As I write this text, so that I can run it through a text-to-speech app, I am thinking to myself, this is so moronic. But as someone who has spent many years lifting, and as someone who trains people and cares about things being done right and ethically, I feel like I need to contribute something in order to expose this clown. Who am I? I'm a nobody. I've lifted for 20 years now, but I have never competed, nor have I ever pretended to compete. I am a big guy, probably 9 inches taller than Blaha, and I'm fairly strong for never having taken steroids. Occasionally, I will train people in the gym who need some help for one reason or another, but that's the extent of it. When it comes to Blaha, am I stronger than him? I don't know. I certainly cannot deadlift 500 pounds. The best I have done was in the 400-pound range, and I backed off of that and stay at 315 now. I am getting old and I don't want to get injured. As far as squats go, I am definitely stronger than Blaha, and when it comes to chest and shoulders and arms, he holds no comparison. But, that is admittedly his weak point. Jason Blaha has the chest build of a 45-year-old woman who gravity finally has gifted with a set of B cups. And in terms of lifestyle and happiness, it's no contest. But again, even most people in Venezuela and North Korea who would probably pass on a chance to trade places with Jason Blaha. What pisses me off about him is that he is a hypocrite and a liar. I don't care that he makes money. I don't care that his mouth is the source of a new strain of gingivitis. But this guy likes to repeatedly bash other YouTube personalities, and he likes to make fun of other people who are just trying to do their best. He thinks that he has the answer to everything, and will turn a blind eye to someone else's success. Jason Blaha can see someone progress into a powerlifting powerhouse, but then criticize them because they didn't do it his way. He absolutely wants to ignore the fact that we are all different human beings, and we all grow in different ways, especially when you're talking about the folks at the edges of the genetic physical spectrum. Jason Blaha doesn't want the truth. He wants to be right. And he is willing to tear people apart to be right, even if it comes at the expense of the truth. So Jason Blaha says he is a powerlifter and not a bodybuilder. This is despite the fact that he has only done 2 small powerlifting meets, each having a small field of competitors. And he also was once into bodybuilding, although he doesn't really want to talk about that much anymore, Just like he doesn't want to talk about his lies about being a paid mercenary, having 2 black belts, having a 500-pound reverse bench press, or a vastly declining number of teeth. Do Blaha's numbers look like that of a successful powerlifter? I had to split up this spreadsheet so that you can see all of the numbers. Again, these are somewhat random videos, but I did spend a little time trying to find some good, honest numbers from Blaha's library. Blaha's bread and butter lifts are the squat and the deadlift, with his major weakness being the bench press. You can see his numbers on this spreadsheet. The best 1-rep squat I could find from Blaha was August 1, 2014. He had a 1-rep squat of 507 pounds. Since then, the closest he has come was in mid-2018, when he hit 470 a few times. He has actually hit a few good sets, squatting 385 for 3 reps on July 6, 2015, and then 452 for 5 reps back in 2013. But he hasn't come close to that since then. Considering Blaha is the expert that he thinks he is, and considering that he is the bastion of knowledge and strength, he should be squatting in the 700s by now. It's been 4.5 years since he hit 507 pounds for a rep. By now, with his knowledge, his numbers should look a lot different than they do. But in reality, you can go on YouTube and watch the footage that high school football programs post, and you can see 17-year-old boys pushing more weight than Jason Blaha. Jason Blaha could not win the Texas High School Powerlifting Championship, men's or women's. Let's watch some of these sets. Here is Blaha's max, that he was able to perform in a hollowed-out dumpster that he could not be trusted to fully clean. It was a shaky rep, but it counts. And to be honest, this isn't even something to be ashamed of, not that he is ashamed of it, because he brags about his lifts constantly. A 500-pound squat is no joke. What is the joke is the lack of improvement and the lack of gains considering his depth of knowledge. Next is a 464-pound squat that occurs 6 months later. By this point, he's already lost 40 pounds off of his squat. And then we really don't get much squat footage out of Jason for a few years. He said he quit doing squats for a few years, which is odd, because he has repeatedly said that he would tell any person that he is training that they are going to have to do squats, non-negotiable. Jason doesn't think that his own advice applies to him, plain and simple. And it shows, because we can see his squat now. Here he is doing a 435-pound squat in 2018. He's 70 pounds down from where he was in 2013, despite being a genius, and despite his environmental improvements, moving out of a dumpster and into a tiny apartment that some dude probably hanged himself in a while back after taking Blaha's lifting advice and falling into a depression after years of stagnation. And now we are to our current time, late February of 2019. Here is Jason doing a 1-rep, 425-pound squat. Remember people, he is a lifting genius. And his body is the proof. Video after video of calling people out for not being strong enough, or for being injured. And here is Blaha, after 6 years doing a squat that is 80 pounds lighter than his max. So what is it? It can't be injuries, because then he would have to admit that his own training program caused injuries. It can't be his program, because his program is tip-top. The only excuse I can think of is gum disease. Jason's strength is directly correlated to the number of molars that he has in his mouth. Next is Jason's bench press. Jason, admittedly, has a terrible bench press. He isn't strong at all. A 264 bench press is embarrassing. Oddly enough, he has improved it. In 1 month time, he improves by 50 pounds. So you would think we would see some consistent growth over the years. Maybe Jason has figured it out. Nope. This is the heaviest bench press I could find. 325 pounds for a single rep. This is the pinnacle of Jason Blaha's chest strength. Cut to today, and he's declining from his max. Down 10 pounds. I wanted to post this because most people don't actually try to max out in their lifts, because most of us are smart. Maxing out greatly increases the chance for injury, and it really only benefits those employing a true powerlifting program. Even then, powerlifters don't max out very often, as they typically employ heavier working sets. But those successful powerlifters see their numbers going up every year, not declining or staying stagnant. Here, Blaha does a 10-rep set. I thought this was interesting, as most of us stay in the 10-rep area. Personally, I train with a lot more volume, and I often do 20-rep sets at 225 pounds on bench. But I'm a nobody, and I don't proclaim to be the oracle of lifting knowledge. This set let me know where Blaha's strength is compared to mine. A 245-pound set of 10 reps isn't too bad on bench. But it's not a showstopper. And it's certainly not something to be proud of when it comes to YouTube or powerlifting. Last is Jason's bread and butter, and that's the deadlift. Jason posts respectable numbers on the deadlift. But these are respectable numbers for the average John Q public, not for the competitive powerlifter. Here, Jason is doing a 4-rep set at 530 pounds in an abandoned public restroom. I can say that this is a respectable lift. It's certainly more than I've ever done, in part because I have never trained for a heavy deadlift. Next is what I could find was Jason's most impressive deadlift. 8 reps at 535 pounds is a great lift for your average lifter. But it's not great for a competitive powerlifter who is on steroids. Now, we are getting closer to modern times. I could not really find much for 2017 when it comes to videos of his lifting. Here is Jason doing a 4-rep set at 375 pounds. This is noticeably down from his peak, where he is doing nearly 150 pounds less and for half the reps. What I don't understand is that Blaha has the perfect program, and he got weaker. Let's compare this to another lift Jason did, where he did 455 pounds for 8 reps. Again, not a bad lift for your average gym bro. But why is Jason so much weaker now, considering he has been taking his own advice and his own steroids for the past 5 years? This is Jason today. The sole person in the room, pushing out the sole rep at 505 pounds. What have we learned? We have learned that Jason Blaha has verifiably gotten weaker over time, not stronger. His bench press is arguably stagnant, but if you want to say that a 6-pound gain over 4 years is a progression, then your standards are pretty low. Now Jason would say that I cherry-picked videos, or that he was cutting or is cutting or whatever he wants to say. But we know that he has to say that. I didn't cherry-pick videos. If Jason Blaha had a compilation video of his best lifts, don't you think I would have used it? It would have made my life so much easier and less pathetic for spending time on this joker. But Blaha doesn't have that video, and he doesn't want to make it. Because it would provide all of the viewers and critics out there with the ammo that would prove he is a fraud. It would prove that he is a shell of his former self, that he has never lifted weights that one could consider respectable in the powerlifting world, and that his years of advice didn't do himself any good. I would love for Blaha to put together a best lifts video. As far as I know, this video is the first to attempt to do so. What Jason's fans need to ask him is why he hasn't done this himself. Hell, he should know exactly which videos showcase his abilities, and it should take him a lot less time than this took me. I've put around 5 hours into this in case you're wondering. Ask him why he won't do it. Why not have a best lifts video? Because he knows that it would contradict everything he has said over the last 5 years, not that contradicting himself has ever stopped him before. As a regular person, Blaha can be proud of some of his lifts. But the rub is that Blaha doesn't claim to be a regular person. He claims to be an expert. But even he cannot follow his own advice, which is why his advice is constantly changing to whatever he is doing at the moment. Blaha, most of the time, makes decisions, and then has to try to back them up with his words, rather than subscribing to a program and then trying to stick with it for a long period of time. His recent evolution on the keto diet is a good example. This is all relevant because he is pitching something that doesn't work, and it's something that anyone who believes him should take to heart. Jason's advice is going to make you stagnant, and more than likely he is going to get you injured. If you want to know how to lift and how to achieve results, I suggest you search for people on YouTube whose history, both personally and in the gym, don't look like Jason Blaha. I hope you enjoyed this. It's not something that was really pleasurable in the making, because I don't really enjoy tearing people down. But I think it was an important video to make.